Good afternoon, everyone. We are Group D in Thursday's tutorial. My group members are Mahesh, Tarun, Sharon Ashwarya, and myself, Zobia. Today, we will be covering questions 4, 5, and the problem.
Hi, so today we're going to look into what is an offshore account. So, an offshore account is basically a jurisdiction that through which its laws seek to create competitive advantage, which also offers financial services to non-residents. So, basically, what happens is this helps in featuring fewer regulations and also tax exemptions, political stability, and also advanced telecommunication infrastructure for the company or a financial institution which is based on a different country. Thank you.
In part 5, I will be talking about the first two subparts. What is credit rating? Credit rating is a score given by Moody's or S&P or other organization to measure a person's ability to pay back their loans and debts. This helps companies to decide whether they really want to give out loans to this particular person, and it helps to eradicate the fear of the person defaulting in their payments. What is credit spread? Credit spread is the same concept applied for a company's securities. S&P, Moody's or other organization give a score to the company's securities so that an investor can have an idea of whether they really want to invest in this company's securities and whether they will be able to make profit. The credit spread is based on different factors such as the liquidity ratio of the company, their financial health, and other factors. The bonds and securities provided by these companies are then categorized under different categories by S&P's, Moody's, or other organization, and helps investors on how to make wise decisions.
So the answer to this part of the question would be a yes, because lower credit spreads indicate incurring lesser borrowing costs, and this is possible when the company is able to hedge their cash flows at a cheaper rate. Now, coming to the second part of the question, a credit spread is usually analyzed to compare a corporate bond to a risk-free alternative, and a US Treasury bill can be considered one. This is because a US Treasury bill is risk-free. So now the main purpose of calculating a credit spread is to analyze the risk-free bond. Now coming to the calculation aspect, the formula to calculate a credit spread is 1 plus R divided by 1 plus RT. R is the rate of return and RT is the rate of return of the risk-free bond. Here the bond can be a treasury bill or a government bond. It can be anything. So if the outcome is a low credit spread, then it means incurring lower borrowing cost, and this means that the company would be able to sell it. If the outcome is a high credit spread, then the company will not be able to sell it and it will mean a higher borrowing cost, so it would be a no. So now here we have a graph of how a credit spread looks, and the dark blue line represents the credit spread of a corporate bond and the gray line represents the credit spread of a government bond, which is a risk-free alternative. The difference between these two lines, which is represented by a light blue line, is basically the credit spread. So the credit spread is nothing but the difference between the corporate bond and the risk-free alternative, which is the government bond.
The first instrument has a lower payout rate of a floating 2.5% as opposed to 5%. However, this 2.5% over the 2 years is uncertain. This means, according to conditions, if LIBOR were to rise, the interest rate would also increase, making the cost related to this floating note higher than the costs of the 2-year bond. The high fluctuations of the 1-year LIBOR render the first instrument as high risk, and the second instrument has a fixed interest rate. That means it is relatively lower risk as compared to the first one. So in conclusion, it is not obvious as to which instrument is the best one. Now the LIBOR is expected to rise to 4.5%. So we need to see which of the two instruments has a lower AIC, assuming that they both have a similar borrowing fee. For the second instrument, the AIC of 5% is given to us. For the first one, we will use the AIC principle. The discount rate or internal rate of return equates the present value of all future interest rate and principal payments to the net proceeds. You can see on the screen what it looks like as a formula. The first year coupon rate is 2.5% and the second year coupon rate is 5.5%, that is 4.5 plus 1, giving us 25,000 and 55,000 respectively. These are calculated to the principal amount of 1 million. So in this case, we have to solve for I, which gives us 3.97%. So the AIC of instrument 1 is 3.97% and instrument 2 is 5%. Hence the first instrument proves to be a cheaper option for debt financing.
Thank you for watching our video today. Looking forward to your feedback in the discussion forum.